Welcome everybody to the ASCW mini tournament. Here we are, game 3 of the finals. We've got 6 Jacks, a DDE spawning as the blue Terran cross positions. Complexity Gaming's Cruncher spawning as the orange Protoss. Of course, Cruncher up 2 games in this best of 5, so he could clinch it here.
Indeed, he could. I mean, on the one hand, that would make it so all 3 of our series have gone 3 games, but on the other hand, that would make it so only 2 of them went full duration.
Of course,
So,
Varapsack, our resident statistician and brain, aka Encyclopedia StarCraft.
This is where, if I were Mole Trap, I would come out with some clever-sounding comment on this female Karak that the SCV or the probe ran into on the way by, but I'm not Mole Trap, so I can't do that kind of thing. And we are going to have cross positions, which Cruncher is going to find out fairly shortly, as his probe sees nothing on horizontal positions. He's going to see something diagonal. And we're going to actually see, whoa, a simulator first back in Cruncher's base. And that's not something you see every day.
Nope.
It means early tech.
Yeah,
Cruncher,
Cruncher,
early tech?
Cruncher really mixing it up so far here. Great use of the Warp Prism. A lot of Protoss forgo that. You only see Immortals, Observers, and Colossus come out of Robo.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Starport. It can build 4 things, but you only ever see 3 of them.
That's right. DDE has to feel a bit frustrated at this point. Cruncher proving to be a great opponent.
Yeah. How many people in the chat have pointed out that a Starport can build 5 things? I don't care. Just figured I would toss that out there. But it looks like Cruncher's saving Chrono Boost a little bit here. Not throwing it down on his probes immediately. Standard. It's actually weirder if they throw down that next Chrono Boost on probes. So he does it. Of course. Thank you, Cruncher.
Varap having the chill get out moment, and he is back.
Alright, Broad Stripe, ladies and gentlemen, do not buy.
I believe that is his internet service provider, as we see the SCV traversing the map. Gonna go ahead and spy Cruncher.
Yep, and he's going to get over there and he's going to see that there's a Psycore finishing up pretty normal. He's going to see the assimilators, and if he clicks on that assimilator, he can know that it's been mining for kind of an abnormally amount of time, but I'm not sure if he's going to see that or not.
Really interested to see what Cruncher's going to come up with here. Of course, going with the airplay in Game 1, massing up 9 Phoenix. I think a lot of people were caught off guard by that. Sort of chalked it up to an insta-lose for him, but was able to hold the initial and second push of DDE quite nicely. Cleaned it up with some force fields and some great grab lifts. Of course, Game 2, wonderful use of the Warp Prism. Great 2-pronged attacks on the Shattered Temple. Close by air position spawns. So now we have a cross spawn here, and we have to sit and wait and see what Cruncher comes up with. As it seems as though DDE going very standard.
Yeah, looks like he's been changing up his own build a little bit here as well, getting the earlier reactor on his barracks, building the tech lab.
Twilight Council going down.
And going for an early second factory. So there is the deviation from the last game build, and I think we're going to see DTs out of Cruncher. That's typically where the tech path that you start down when you go for an assimilator first leads you. And that could be quite good. There's not a full wall off at the front of DDE's base. There are going to be 2 orbital commands worth of scans, but there are no engineering bays, no starports with tech labs on them, which means no Ravens and no missile turrets, so only scans for detection for a while for DDE.
Oh, DT's coming, as we see the Dark Shrine going down, and that takes forever to build.
Yep, but it's
SCV
totally
going to get sniped.
Worth it.
Yep, absolutely.
Alright, so 3 gateways going to be finishing up here along with the Warp Gate research for Cruncher. And, well, it looks like DDE did not click on... Oh, maybe he did. He's building an engineering bay, and I would expect to see him toss down a turret, probably at the top of his ramp, maybe one out by his natural really wide open natural. It's going to be hard to cover it with just one missile turret. But it looks like he does at least suspect something. Something all players should probably get in the habit of doing. If you get in your opponent's base early on, they've got their gas. Click on it, see how much they've mined from it. If it's missing a lot, then you can bet they've had it. Well, you'll know that they've had it for a long time, and you can bet they're going for something sneaky like Dark Templar. And here's the proxy pylon for Cruncher down at the low ground third on DDE's side of the map. And there's another one by this base halfway in between the bottom two bases using a probe provision, and that's 3 whole Dark Templar. There's no partial Dark Templars. There's not 2 Dark Templars, but that's 3 whole Dark Templars right there.
Of course, DDE does feel that something is up, is going to build a missile turret. Dark Templars do grant
nice.
Map control quite early. They don't necessarily have to do damage right away.
Yeah, it looks like Cruncher knows that. He's going down there, so he's just going to hang out behind the minerals over by that natural DDE. He wants to deny some mining a little on. Meanwhile, Cruncher's own natural nexus has completed construction. He's transferring over 14 probes to go work down there and getting some photon cannons in his own main because he's not sure exactly what's going on over in DDE's base. Just wants to make sure he's ready for anything that can happen. DDE going very heavy on factories, getting down numbers 3 and 4 at the moment.
Absolutely. Dropping some mules down, trying to get his economy up and going. You can see supply capped at the moment, 62 of 62 for DDE, 54 of 84 for Cruncher.
And there goes that Dark Templar, denying some mules, but taking some siege tank shots, looks like. Getting a couple more SCV kills, and he's going to try to retreat just out of range of that missile turret. So
Scan goes down, though,
DDE.
And he cannot maintain as he does get taken out, but DDE knows where there's one DT, there's usually a couple more lurking.
Yep. So he's going to try to walk around, but he's going to walk in range of the missile turret. Taking a lot of damage, but that was all shield damage, so he is totally fine. Meanwhile, Hellion's trying to get into the natural from Cruncher. But there are some stalkers that are going to deny them entry for the time being.
Absolutely. So one of these players will be taking him $125. The other player $75.
The one is me again.
Not bad for a couple hours work. DDE once again supply capped.
A little bit unfortunate. Never a good place to be in.
We see this Warp Prism now. Warp Prism taking the long way around. Cruncher proving that can be a viable unit.
Yep, I would expect.
Pre-Igniter finishes. Roof Frame Hellrin on the field. That's the extent of my Korean. Going to go ahead and take down these rocks uncontested. And that Warp Prism now lumbering ever so closely to the main of DDE.
Yep, the very same main where at the starport there is a Raven under production, which means there's going to be some mobile detection out on the field for DDE, which is going to make him able to move across the map a little bit more safely, losing a Hellion or two to the Stalker force that Cruncher sends out across the map. And Cruncher going to take a Ninja expansion at the top left main, while warping in 3 DTs into the main of DDE, getting a lot of damage done. Going to be able to take out the Tech Lab on the starport, take out a ton of SCVs, and DDE responds by pulling his army before he pulls his SCVs, so a lot more damage going down for DDE.
Oh, and he does get the missile turret, but the Raven is out. Does force a scan.
That was a little bit wasted scan. The Raven was right there. DDE a little bit frazzled this game, it seems.
Absolutely, it was, but
still another DT doing damage, and the Raven flies over, puts an end to that.
He wants to make sure he has full vision of his main to make sure that he can get any rogue DTs. Hence, you have both the Raven and the scan.
Oh wow, he can't see the Warp Prism because of where it is in relation to that supply depot due to the
Here we go!
grass.
DT's doing more work on these SCVs, being as annoying as humanly possible.
Doing tons of damage in DDE's main. Cruncher using his DTs very, very well, making sure they're in 3 separate places so the Raven has to split up its travel time, and Ravens are pretty slow. So that's a significant thing. DDE finally discovers the pylon and the probe, but there's another pylon down here at the bottom of the map, so that's not the biggest of deals. And Cruncher still has the warp prism in the back of DDE's main, where there are
And we may have actually lost Vorap. Vorap is back, though. Everyone's screaming, chill, get out.
I don't know why it's
because you have crappy internet, but here we go. It's okay, not a problem. Force field's going down. Players being very patient. Tanks trying to do work.
Wow, Cruncher doesn't have a big enough army to really deal with this. Zealot's going down really quickly to the Blue Flame Hellions. Immortal trying to do a lot of damage to the siege tanks, but there are so many siege tanks.
No, but there is a counter now in the main. Also, DTs are gonna, and they are gonna have to do a lot of damage here, as DDE now pushing into Cruncher's bases.
Wow. The double robo now exposed to the siege tanks, taking a lot of fire. Probes trying to come off the line.
Yeah.
Try to fix this.
Okay, I believe that Varap will actually be leaving the game. He has gotten the chill get out. Players have been patient for as long as possible. Now DDE is sieging up outside of the natural of Cruncher. Cruncher going to have a hard time dealing with this. One tank goes down, two tanks go down, and working now on the double robo. No gateway units in sight at the moment for Cruncher. Scan going down, going to grant vision, is going to build a turret right outside the base. Going to go ahead and be able to detect any DTs, any more shenanigans coming out from Cruncher. Cruncher this time may be in a load of trouble. As you can see, tanks just wrecking shop in the base of Cruncher, and there's the GG.